Hello, welcome back to my channel. As promised from a previous video, I'm going to share with you today my recipe and how I make my own homemade chai lattes. So, I am just enjoying an afternoon treat today, a little Sunday afternoon pick-me-up. And it's one of my favorite little treats. It's a little splurge, but I'm also trying to save money and live a little frugally, and I don't have a Starbucks in town, which doesn't break my heart because I don't drink coffee. And I can make this for like less than $1 right here in my own kitchen. So I'm going to show you how I do that, how I make my chai concentrate, and oh yeah, that's better than Starbucks or the concentrate you buy in the grocery store. I guarantee it. I will leave the recipe, if you will, in the comments. It's never the same way twice, but I will put in exactly how I did it this time, so that if you want to reproduce this, you can get the same one that I did. And I'm not the only one that does that, right? That like has a general outline rather than a recipe. That's basically how I make things. But I will give. I know a lot of people are rule followers and recipe followers, so I will tell you exactly how I made it today, and you can get the same results. And I'm telling you, it's really good. It's like, this is good stuff. Oh yeah, Mikey likes it.
So making your own chai concentrate couldn't be easier, really, if you have it's more of a matter of gathering your ingredients. So I'm going to go through real briefly the different ingredients I use in mine, and you can make variations. For instance, sometimes I use fennel seeds when I have fennel available, but I don't have any right now, so I'm not going to use fennel today. But I am going to add a couple things that I don't always add. The key to chai are cardamom seeds, cardamom pods. So this is what they look like, a cardamom pod. There we go. And I put my cardamom pods in my mortar and pestle and crush them up a little bit. If you don't have a mortar and pestle, you can just crush them with the back of a wooden spoon or something like that. But you want to crack them. You don't need to grind them. You just want to crack them open. So that's cardamom. That's like the main flavor that you get in chai. Then in here, I'll show you in their jars, just a small amount of whole cloves. And you can tell a clove because it has this little ball and then pointy end on it. And peppercorns, which kind of looks like cloves without the stem. Oh, wait. Yeah, those are peppercorns. I thought for a second I pulled out my elderberries, which look similar. So stick your nose in it and smell it if you aren't sure, like me. But that's definitely peppercorns. So, there's the same kind of pepper that you use to put in a pepper grinder. And you don't need very much. You need about 4 to 6 cloves and, let's say, a half a teaspoon of pepper, whole pepper. A few whole sticks of cinnamon sticks. Again, I buy most of this in bulk because I go through a fair amount of it. And then star anise pods. Here's your star anise. Since I don't have fennel, the anise will also give that licoricey anise flavor. I might actually grab a third one out of there. And then you want some fresh grated ginger. So I'm going to cut that end off that ginger. And I'm going to take about that much. If you don't like as much ginger, don't put as much ginger in it. And I'm going to just kind of peel the ginger. those rough spots off. You can also take your fresh ginger and juice it through a juicer if you have it. You can grate it. I just make it easy on myself and chop it up. Oops, I wanted to run away. Put it through a garlic press is another way to kind of crush up your ginger as well. Okay. And then in there. My secret ingredient, if you will, to make it a little more healthy, health-giving, this is some dried reishi mushroom, wild crafted, that I have. Also turkey tail mushroom, if you're a forager, works really well. I'm gonna try to, I don't know, these are dry and they've been in there for a while. Break them up a little bit. I'm not gonna wanna cut. So I have approximately 6 cups of water. If your water's not particularly good water, you can use bottled water or filtered water. There's my cardamom pods, my star anise, my cinnamon sticks, cloves and green and black pepper, and about 4 to 6 cups of water. I think I got about 6 here. I'm gonna grab another cinnamon stick. So this goes on the stove. You bring it to a boil. You let it boil for a period of time, and then you let it simmer. You almost can't let it simmer too long. Well, you can, like a day, but you know, I just let it while I'm doing other things in the kitchen or around the house. It fills the house with a nice ginger, cinnamony kind of scent. So it's kind of pleasant, kind of a little potpourri action happening. And then we'll go to the next step after it has simmered and cooked down a little bit. There you go. So eventually you get it here to a nice rolling boil and you just let it boil. And you kind of want it to reduce down by 25, 50%. I just kind of keep an eye on it. That's why I start with usually about 6 cups of water, and I let it reduce down to about a quart, 4 cups of water. And just let it keep doing. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Doesn't need to boil quite that hard, just a nice soft simmer. And it's starting to smell very lovely. You can see that the water's taking on some color. So now that it has been boiling away, simmering away, I guess it's still boiling. It's not really into simmer. I'm going to turn it down quite a bit. And you can see where the line of the original water line was and how it's reduced down by quite a bit. And it's taken on some nice rich color. You can't smell it, but trust me, it smells amazing. And now I'm going to put a couple tea bags. These are larger tagless tea bags, iced tea bags. They're just black tea, nothing fancy. Lipton, Red Rose, whatever. I've also in the past just used about a half a cup, quarter cup, I can't remember now, quarter cup maybe, of loose black tea. And I don't have, the only loose black tea I have right now is Earl Grey. I don't want to add Earl Grey flavoring to my chai flavoring. So I'm just going to use these that I'm used to make iced tea with. And I'm going to sit them in now. You don't put the tea in when you put the other spices in initially, because it will get bitter if it sits there and boils for as long as it takes to extract the flavors of the spices that you've put in. So I'm just going to put that in and let it steep. And I've actually turned this, I'm going to just turn it off at this point because it's plenty hot. Doesn't need to boil. When I make a pot of tea, I don't keep the tea, I pour it into the teapot and let it steep. So
Just going to let that steep. You can even put the lid on it, let it steep that way. So I'm going to let it steep for like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. You want it to be stronger than like you would normally drink a cup of tea, because you're going to dilute it with your milk or dairy substitute milk substitution of choice. But I'm just going to let that steep for about 10 minutes. So now your tea mixture has steeped, got a nice strong tea in there, very dark. And we're going to strain it. And I like to just strain it right into a quart canning jar, because canning jar, is made for hot liquids, easy to pour from, easy to store, etc. And I'm just going to hopefully not spill this all over myself. Yeah. Usually I do this in the sink, and so I don't have to worry about this, but there we go. That aside, get a little paper towel to clean up after myself. So I started out with about 6 cups of water, and other than the half a cup that I just spilled on the all over, you can see how much it has reduced down to make a concentrate. Now that it is off the heat, but it's still hot, I have about just a little over a quarter cup, about a third of a cup, I guess, 100 milliliters of honey. It's actually a little more than I probably would have put in here, but I guess I wasn't paying attention when I measured it. And I like a raw honey. The last time I made this, I had a turmeric infused honey, which I liked, except turmeric can leave a little bit of a bitter taste. So I decided not to put that in there this time. And then I'm just gonna and if I'm gonna drink this hot later, reheat it and add milk to it and heat it up, I can always add a little bit more sweetener if it's not sweet enough. But I would rather add some later than have it too sweet to start with. So there you go. Now, ooh, that's really hot. So I'm gonna let it sit before I do anything with it, because it's hot in here today and I don't really want this as a hot drink right now. So what I will do, put a lid on it, put it in the fridge. When I want to drink it, I can drink it iced or reheat it. Iced, I just take a glass of ice, pour about 50% concentrate and 50% milk, almond milk, oat milk, dairy milk, whatever kind of milk you prefer, and stir it up and drink it. You can also do the 50-50 milk of your choice and concentrate and heat it up on the stove or in the microwave. I don't like to microwave it, but that's just my personal preference, for no real reason, just my preference, and drink it hot, like a hot chai. And it's delicious, and it saves quite a bit of money. So all of the spices that I used for this, now I buy them in bulk. You can get them anywhere, lots of places. You can get them online in many places, Amazon, even Walmart, places like that. But you can also buy smaller quantities of all of those spices, perhaps even in your local grocery store. I don't need your help. Depending, on your market and where you are. I haven't tried to find cardamom pods in Selma. That might be a tricky one. Those I usually order online. But if you happen to be lucky enough to have an Asian market in your town, in your area, that's a good place to start. But cinnamon sticks, cloves, black pepper, fresh ginger, what else did I have in there? Even fennel seeds, quite often you can find in your local grocery store in small, I can't think of the name brands of any of them, but all those things you can probably find in your local grocery store or get them online. And you don't need to buy a 1-pound bag of cinnamon sticks like I did, or a quart jar well, I don't give them in a jar, but I store them in a jar of cloves or black peppers or star anise or any of those things. You can get small quantities and make this for. I haven't done the price comparison, but I do know that one of those uh, carton boxes of like Oregon chai, Tazo chai concentrate, I think in my grocery store is anywhere from $4 to $6. And if that's about a quart, I believe. So it's about the same amount. Um, I know this has cost me less than that, especially when I'm buying things in bulk. So save yourself some money. It makes your kitchen smell delicious too. And you can also infuse it with a few, wishes or spells if you want as you're stirring and you're adding the different ingredients. You can, and like you can also customize it. Maybe you don't like as much of the anise flavor, but you want it a little spicier, so you put a little bit more black pepper in it or a little more ginger in it. Maybe you want it really cinnamon chai and you add a little bit more cinnamon to it. Like I did, I add the reishi mushrooms or the turkey tail mushrooms for their added health benefits. You have fresh turmeric, chop that up and put it in there as well. You can do a lot of playing around. You can add the fennel seeds. I didn't have fennel seeds. You don't have to. I'm trying to think of some of the other things I have added when I've made it. You just kind of mess around, but that's a good basic starter that I gave you there. So I hope you enjoy that. Spice on ice, that's really nice. How about that?